sequels. And so we're here with an awesome panel today. My name is Julie. I'm from the Talents Reach Library, and we're going to let everybody introduce themselves with the one thing that they wish would get remade that would be genuinely just good, fantastic. You walk out of the theater and you're like, yes, that is everything I wanted from life. And I think I would go with either Firefly, original cast, which of course can't happen, or a really good remake of The Wizard of Oz. And let's go with, over here, Stacy.
My name is Stacy. I work at the Central Branch. I think the one thing I would really like to see rebooted, Tron technically had a sequel, but I would really like to see the OG Tron like rebooted with today's graphics. I think that would be really cool.
Actually, I think it is being rebooted. Sorry to interject. Like, I really, like, I don't think I'm imagining this. But...
Yay! That's really exciting. Okay, so move on.
I'm Philip. I'm from the Central Library, and I would say The Facts of Life. I feel like it's Joe's time.
You can take the good and take the bad.
Yeah.
You take it all and then you have to.
So yeah, I'll choose two. The first is early '90s cyberpunk movie starring Keanu Reeves by the name of Johnny Mnemonic, and the second is The Shadow starring Alec Baldwin. Like, I really enjoyed that movie, and I think it deserves a reboot.
My name is Justine. I also work at the Central Branch, and I want to see a proper sequel to Friends because 10 years was not enough for me.
All right, so let's kind of go on the opposite end of that. What is the worst remake that you guys have seen? The thing that you're just like, no, this does not exist to me.
I'm gonna start. Did anyone ever watch the horror movie Cabin Fever by Eli Roth?
Yes.
Yes.
They remade that, and that was made very recently. So they remade it only like 6 to 10 years later. It did not need a reboot. They changed absolutely nothing except they made one character a female, and they kept all of her lines the exact same as the male lines from the first one.
I would have to say the most recent remake of Psycho.
With Vince Vaughn?
Yes, one with Vince Vaughn. That's a whole separate deal. But secondly, it's a classic that didn't need to be remade. And if you're going to remake it, why make a black and white, slavishly faithful remake?
Was it like a shot-for-shot remake?
Yeah.
Yes, I have already seen Psycho with not Vince Vaughn.
I don't even know how to follow that. So mine would be, I guess first it would be the live action Lion King, but I would take it a step further. Kids, if you're watching, please turn away. All of the live action Disney films that are remakes of the remakes that they've already made, they don't need to exist.
I would agree with that
Yeah,
wholeheartedly. For me, it's The Last Airbender. I love M. Night, but he did a huge disservice to a beloved childhood TV show, and I'll never forgive him.
True. All right, so what is a reboot that you guys are really looking forward to? Something that you've heard about and you're just super psyched and pumped for, and secretly hoping they don't screw up.
Oh, I got one. Tron.
You're welcome.
I would like more details on that if you have any at all. Nope, that's okay.
No,
I think there's a fair number of properties I feel that are being rebooted or relaunched in some fashion. Understanding is that there's some kind of a Rugrats reboot.
Yes. I think they're redoing a lot of like the classic 90s stuff. So I was a kid in the 90s, and so it's like they're redoing Rugrats, Animaniacs, Daria, which was kind of on that like cusp of the millennium. Avatar is getting another new move. Is it a movie or a show? I think it's a show.
I think it's a show.
Yeah, through Netflix, I think.
So I'm a little more hopeful.
Yeah, fingers
Netflix.
crossed.
And Netflix is doing and has been doing the Transformers, the new Transformers cartoon, the War for Cybertron and Earthrise.
And let's see, Saved by the Bell and Fresh Prince and Pokemon. Jumanji, like all of that kind of was like in that 90s era. And all of those are getting reboots. Is there anything that anyone is really pumped about or like just absolutely terrified of?
I feel like Jumanji was pretty good the first time around.
It's hard to beat Robin Williams.
It is.
Yeah.
The Trilogy soft reboot though with Karen
Rock and Karen Gillan.
Yeah,
Oh,
Dr.
The Rock.
Yeah.
all of the names I'm forgetting except their stage names. That was really fun, and I really liked the throwback to Robin that they gave in it. Having the kid who got sucked in at the very beginning, like spoilers, I guess, but you're coming to a Reboots Remasters sequel, so
No, you're right.
perspective. Their little like homage to him that he lived in this house and they found his house and where he grew up in the jungle and stuff is really cool.
And although it's not really a sequel, Zathura is kind of a spiritual sequel to the first Jumanji.
I actually really like Zathura.
Me too.
I had a good time.
Everything with the guy.
Yeah.
It's some of Kristen Stewart's best acting. She's just frozen through most of the movie.
Which one?
Zathura?
Oh.
Do you remember?
So is anything else that anyone's like just kind of dreading?
Rugrats. I think it's already out on Paramount Plus.
I didn't say. The movies I'm thinking of is Rugrats. 101 Dalmatians. What is it?
Cruella, that's right.
It also
Yes.
came out and was also one I was very on the fence about and still haven't seen.
Well, why did they want me to identify with someone who wants to hurt puppies?
I feel like that's a thing that's being done because there's like Cruella, there's Maleficent, Wicked.
Wicked is different.
Well, it's still sort of the perspective of the antagonist, I suppose.
She was framed. She took a dead woman's shoes. Was she raised in a barn?
Yeah, that feels like a plot for Wicked.
I think Wicked's a little different just because Wicked had it was a reboot from so long ago, right?
Well, it's very different from the book.
Oh,
Like,
I mean,
very
it's
different.
just not.
Yeah, that's definitely something you could look at is adaptation-wise.
Yeah.
Since so many things are being adapted now. I think Altered Carbon was not super recently, but fairly recently made into a television program, and that's based on a book. And I think there are some liberties.
Like you mentioned, Lion King is based off of Hamlet.
Yes.
It's true. Isn't that just a reboot of Hamlet? The OG line.
Ooh, there you go.
It is. I don't like being put on the spot. But yes, it is essentially a reboot of Hamlet. So, of course, as you could say, lions and stuff, humans, but yeah.
I will throw this out there because I think we were just discussing it earlier. Barbed Wire as a reboot reimagining of Casablanca. If you haven't seen Pamela Anderson's work, definitely check it out. I'm thinking Baywatch, another property that has been rebooted.
Has it?
Yeah,
No,
with
yes.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Zac
yeah.
Efron.
Zac
Yep.
Yeah.
And it can't go wrong with lifeguards.
They save lives.
Animaniacs.
Has anyone seen the new remake of Animaniacs?
The Pinky and the Brain was like the best part of that show.
Yeah.
I haven't
In
seen
the reboot or the original?
The original.
the original. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I've seen interviews with voice cast members for it before it was. I don't know if it was yet or not, but
Yeah.
from probably 4 or 5 months ago. It looks really interesting. I know one of the things that was done. I think they've redone the country's song to bring it more up to date that Yaku does.
I watched it, but I watched it while we were, I think, in quarantine or a little bit after, so it was a while back. I thought it was really good.
The Mighty Ducks got a remake and do a TV show. Does anyone else know?
Now,
Just
we're
me?
talking about
Okay.
the actual, like,
Yeah, let's stick to
cartoon ducks or the
No,
hockey
Game
team?
Changers.
Oh, okay.
The Game Changers is a new one.
Okay.
Has anyone else seen that? Just me?
I mean,
There's no Emilio Estevez.
It's okay.
But yeah, that's
He
about
is in it.
as far as like.
Well, if there's Emilio Estevez in it, I don't watch it.
Oh, and DuckTales, which I think got canceled.
It did, and interestingly enough, David Tennant was doing the voice of Scrooge McDuck for that.
Doctor Who canceled?
Yeah.
I thought
Reboot.
that was doing like pretty good because it had
So
David
too.
Tennant.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear that, Disney?
Because he's actually Scottish. So you didn't have to do the accent. You just-
Oh, dang it.
All right, one of my like all-time favorites, still totally holds up, the original series, Daria, getting a remake with Jodie.
I'm
What do you
really
think about that?
Excitement.
Excitement.
I really
excited
like.
about that.
I really like Daria.
Because for me, Daria, like as far as the very, I guess, dry humor it put off, it was like ahead of its time, like no other like cartoon sitcom was doing that, and that's what I gravitate towards today. So no, Daria, like I would very much welcome a continuation of that, even though it's a different character if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that Daria reboot.
I think that one will be good.
The reboot of Daria is going to be Jodie, and it's going to follow her friend in high school as her like post-college life, navigating the world as the first time as an adult. So,
Daria was the perfect complement to Beavis and Butthead.
which is also getting rebooted.
Really?
Yeah, Beavis.
Now I'm excited.
I was low. I should
Are
have
they going to bring back King of the Hill and just do the whole?
Yeah,
The Mike Judge universe.
I was about to say, King of the Hill would be the perfect reboot, like if you make it like present day.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
I think there's a lot
That's
of,
a gold mine
Yeah.
of opportunity.
Super top.
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of things to do with it. Yeah.
That would be fantastic. All right, we talked about Avatar a little bit already. Saved by the Bell and Fresh Prince. I remember watching those when I was young.
Sure.
I really liked Fresh Prince. I actually own like the first 3 or 4 seasons on DVD. Is how much I liked it. Saved by the Bell, I never did like because I thought the main character was really mean. So I didn't want to watch it. So I don't really have much to say except I'm like.
It's like a reboot of a reboot because I can remember watching both the really old ones.
The Good Morning,
And-
Mr. Building.
That one, Miss Bliss.
Yeah,
Miss
Good
Bliss.
Morning, Miss Bliss. Yes.
Yeah, and then the Saved by the Bell, and they
Oh.
remade it with like the new class.
Mhm.
It's like I can remember. It's like, and now it's again.
Yeah, it's like Sweet Valley High.
How many times do we need to Saved by the Bell? Like at what point do we go, okay, let's not reboot it?
At what point does the bell save?
Who do they get saved?
I feel like that's. I feel like it's a generational thing. Like every generation gets an opportunity to have its version of one of those IPs.
I think the problem with these reboots though is they fail to capture the theme that made it popular for that time, because there are a lot of things like the 90s aesthetic and just the humor of that show that doesn't translate well into today. And these shows are actually more so for us adults, like
Yeah.
because of teen watching shows, like let's say about the bill. I don't care about this. So yeah, it loses something when it's brought up to like the present day. So do we even need like a third or fourth Saved by the Bell reboot? Probably not.
I had the same question when I saw that Neil Gaiman's The Sandman, the property was being adapted for like a television program, but the conceit is that it would be, what if the Sandman story occurred, but in modern day, how would that inform it and change it? And for something like that, I really feel that it was of its time, very specific to the politics and the pop culture things and whatnot going on there. And I don't know how well it will translate into like a 2000s environment.
What do you guys think about just the general idea that millennials as a generation are incredibly nostalgic?
I actually think I read somewhere that we might be the first generation that's like truly like nostalgic. No? Philip goes, but
I feel like other generations could be nostalgic.
but I mean, but we have the technology to reboot Saved by the Bell 4 times unnecessarily. Like,
But is that really nostalgic? Because I think nostalgia, is defined by the inability to actually return to that state. And if you can, is it nostalgia, or is it a sad attempt to be cool like the older kids?
And part of it is like if you go down the toy aisle, right? How many of those? Yeah, I can't. If you go down the toy aisle and you look around, and I just think,
Money.
how many of these things did I have when I was a kid, and now I am buying for my kid?
Yeah.
Like,
Or for myself.
Yeah, so for myself.
I've seen like the Kenner Ghostbuster action figures from the 90s. Those are being remarketed and
Yeah, and that's
Resold.
definitely for adults, not.
I feel like it's for Generation X because it's got some purchasing power now, and they're just going to kind of milk that as much as possible because I do not sincerely believe that there are any 12-year-olds out there in the Walmart toy aisle saying, "Mom, it's Robbie the Robot from Forbidden Planet. Can I get that?" And maybe they'll have a Leslie Nielsen action figure as well.
I will buy that.
We're not sure.
I will buy that.
Yeah, you're the market that Golden Girls action figures are targeted towards.
I don't think that's me. What about like just kind of some of the other weird things? Like I know I've seen at Target. Have you guys seen like when I was a kid, we had the one-off games. We didn't have Switches where you could have 5 million games on them. It was one game that played one game. And I saw those in the store. And like there's the Oregon Trail game now. I've seen
Yes,
Mario
I'll
Kart
pick that
games
up.
now. Like kind
So
of
like
all
the
of that stuff.
handheld.
Yeah, like they do
Yeah.
so much of this stuff is coming back.
Yeah, and the technology has gotten to the place where you can put, dozens of older, like 32-bit games or whatnot onto a small emulator device. Because I've seen like controllers get marketed where like the controller is like the platform that's got to play some games on.
Yep.
I would say stop taking my money.
And I think it's interesting that even in the age of emulation, you have, just recently it broke a world record. Someone sold a mint inbox copy of Super Mario 64 for $1.5 million. Even though you can emulate that game, and even the Switch has remade it, people still are willing to pay for its original form in the box.
Just think what people would pay for an emulated version of the E.T. video game. I know.
We already have so many of them in the dump, we don't need them.
If you don't understand that joke, please Google Atari E.T.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's all I
that's
need.
all you need. All right, what reboot should never happen? Like the thing that exists is completely perfect. No one should ever touch it. It should stand by itself. It is made of gold.
So are we asking like which previous property do we? It's just like just untouchable. Like,
Yeah,
you should-
please.
Or are you talking about one that's been redone
How about
and
both?
shouldn't?
I'd say both.
Okay.
Because kind of, yeah. Like that one thing that you're just like, please, please, please don't ever remake this. It's absolutely perfect the way it is.
Yes, I would say Star Trek II should probably not be remade with that guy, Benadryl Clambersnatch. Yeah.
Oh, you mean one of the best Star Trek movies?
The original Star Trek II, absolutely one of the finest films of all time. Also Ricardo Montalban.
So you're saying they should have never rebooted on 4.
Oh, did they remake Star Trek II? I have no idea.
I was playing that game.
No, it's an abomination. It's a travesty. It shouldn't have been done.
That's a separate panel because I want to argue that point.
Good, you're on your side there, Lon. Anything else that you think should never ever be remade?
I have one. Lord of the Rings, the first trilogy. Well, I know technically it's been remade like 100
Yeah, I was gonna say the
times,
like the
it's
Bakshi
technically,
version
like,
or the
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson version.
That's like beautiful.
You know what? I actually second that because now, of course, like if it were to be rebooted, we would get like, green screen CGI, but like there's actually a Hobbiton in New Zealand, like the level of detail that went into that trilogy, like yeah, it's amazing. So I don't think the effort would be there if it were rebooted present day. So yeah, just although there is that entire Amazon like extended universe coming, which I'm not here for at all, but
Yeah, Second Age, I think, is the deal for that. If it happens.
Trying to keep them open.
I'm not. No,
Yeah.
It's a cash grab, but yeah. So I think mine would be Lord of the Rings too. I wish it.
A bigger crash grab than the 3 Hobbit movies.
Yeah.
all 3 Hobbit movies based on the one Hobbit book.
Very short.
And they cut out all the scenes from the Hobbit book.
Yeah.
It's great.
Okay. I feel much the same way about Dune.
I'm not that there's any plans to, but Spirited Away is just absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Untouchable.
don't remake
Yeah.
Spirited.
It's
None
not
of them. Don't make any.
No, leave it alone. Because I'm worried that once Miyazaki-san passes, that his son will try to do something, and I'm really scared. So
I have seen,
Please no.
I've seen fan-produced, like sequel trailer type things or reboot type things for some Miyazaki titles. I want to say Nazca and the Valley of the Wind. There's a fan-driven project to make a live-action version of that. So.
That one's like one of my favorites.
it's so.
It's a good one. I don't think I would enjoy a remake.
I don't think so. I think they should just leave them alone.
And I feel like if we start talking about remakes of anime, what's the likelihood it's going to be remade into another anime? It's probably going to end up
Don't
like
get me
Death Note.
started. Do not
Well,
get
that's
me
Mr. North Star.
started.
That's a perfectly fine adaptation into live action.
It's not. Also, speaking of a live action Cowboy Bebop is on the way.
Who's gonna be?
I knew they were making a
John
reboot.
Cho.
Oh, that might be okay.
That's an interesting.
It's going to be live action, and apparently it's going to be a series because John Cho was like, "Oh, season 1 just wrapped," and I was like, "Season 1."
Oh.
But no, there should be one season, but apparently it's not going to be very faithful to the original series. Which was
Interesting.
Huh. It reminds me of Eon Flux. When it was.
I do not acknowledge that. Nor do I
Or
acknowledge the
Alita.
live action Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, no. I didn't like Alita Battle Angel either. I
Yeah,
know that's pretty controversial, but it's just the
I
manga.
hated the ending because as a movie standpoint, because I had nothing going into that,
Mhm.
it just ended bad.
Sure.
It ended unsatisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that sort of Western reinterpretations of like Japanese properties, because that's sort of the same thing with Ghost in the Shell, I want to say. Yeah, I don't know.
Alright, what about sequels? Favorite sequel, least favorite sequel? Sequels that should have never been made. Cursed Child. Sorry.
Aliens and Terminator 2, I think, occupy kind of a unique place.
What?
In that they are
Terminator 2 is the only good one.
that they are sequels that are arguably better than the.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Okay.
I thought it ended that way.
As close to having like an actual aneurysm.
oh yeah.
Like
Terminator 2 is the only good one.
one of the best movies of all time.
Yes, and arguably better than the first Terminator, but not necessarily what you expect out of a sequel.
Yes.
You mentioned Star Trek 2.
Star Trek 2, also Star Trek 2, yeah, better than the original Star Trek the motion picture.
Yes.
Yeah, again, not too many of those. Empire.
Is there a
Empire's-
sequel that just completely ruined the franchise? Because I think there is, and now I don't think I'm thinking.
A lot of the Disney direct to DVD were
and
pretty
except for
bad.
like Lion King.
Okay, Lion King 2 is amazing.
Toy Story 2,
Toy
amazing.
Story
Great,
2.
yeah. But like Mulan 2, no. The
I was
Mulan
wondering-
reboot, no.
So I was wondering because it is technically a sequel, even though it's a third movie in the trilogy, because it's a continuation of the second movie, Matrix. Matrix
4?
Revolutions. Matrix Revolutions is terrible.
Yeah.
They're making a 4th Matrix.
They are.
With Keanu, but no Morpheus. So
See,
what's the point?
and all that time and energy that could be put towards remaking Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah.
I want a realistic cybernetic dolphin.
Please Google Johnny Mnemonic.
I was like, I don't know anything
I
about
don't
You don't know it? Oh, yeah.
The height of Keanu, so I support this.
Henry Rollins, who is the Racer Girl. Who plays her? She was in, oh dear, the Bug movie,
You're going to have to be more specific.
the Alien Bug movie, the fascist
To be
movie.
more specific.
Do you want to know more?
Mimic species?
What is?
Starship Troopers!
Starship Troopers, okay.
Thank you, anonymous voice
Yes.
in the veil.
All right, Grease 2. I think that one goes on the list of really horrible.
Yes.
Grease is getting a reboot.
No,
Why?
I think it's called Rise of the Pink Ladies or something. The Pink
Ah,
Ladies.
yes. I do think I've actually heard
I
that.
did
yes.
hear that Grease is getting a reboot to some degree. Actually, I have a friend. Grease 2 is one of his absolute favorite movies. Not just of musicals, of any movies.
Interesting.
Love it.
This is your friend.
We have other things in common.
I think I do prefer the Two Jakes to Chinatown, which is probably an unpopular opinion for people to take, but I think that Chinatown is a 1970s film that's dressed up as a period historical, and I think Two Jakes is much more in that noirish style.
So I think my sequels would be T2, of course. You scared me there. And also, unpopular opinion, but I think a case can be made that Blade Runner 2049 is, like, story-wise, narrative-wise, better than the original. I know that's slightly controversial, but it's a more pleasurable watch than the original. The original was very niche, but 2049 was really good in my opinion.
I don't know that I would necessarily agree with that, but I think it's a lovely follow-up, I think, to the first film. I don't think either one of those kind of brings the other one down, where there's certainly been sequels where I've watched and said, like, really, I was really hoping that 1984 would be better than it was. Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
That movie ruined my Christmas.
It's a great, Wonder Woman was a great movie. So,
Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom ruined my birthday when that came out.
Oh,
which
Jurassic
one is that?
Jurassic World?
What number would that be?
Oh my
Two
god.
in the reboot?
Okay, Fast and Furious and Jurassic Park can stop.
Yeah, agreed.
Agreed.
what about you, Justine? Favorite sequel? Or least favorite sequel?
I think one of my favorite sequels we were discussing was Lion King 2, perfect. But I did not like also the live action reboot, whatever. That was not necessary.
I really
Child
think for
prefer.
that one we need to do live action reboot.
Yeah, because it's not.
There's no live action.
Alright,
It's
it makes no sense.
It-
once you take out the people.
The photorealistic lion.
Yeah, the expressive cartoony sort of styling that was used in it originally.
If you're
Versus,
versus all of these CGI.
yeah, like I love dogs. They're not that visually emotive.
All right, with our last couple minutes, let's go to Ghostbusters. So we have
Right.
the original 2 movies, then we have the remake that they already made, and then there's another remake coming.
And there's a video game.
Oh, and video game.
A couple of them.
So, favorites, least favorites, excited, worried, thoughts.
I love the female Ghostbusters, and I am
Seconded.
distraught that they are not doing a sequel to that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, I
ended up
enjoyed it
being
too.
such a good, fun film.
I'm a Ghostbusters 2 person. I like my ridiculous singing at the end of the film, where everyone feels better about themselves. It's got one of the all-time great courtroom trial scenes put to film. And take a look, some incredible practical visual effects.
I love the Ghostbusters.
All right, and Paul Rudd. Can't go wrong with Paul Rudd. Isn't he in the
He's
new
gonna
one?
be
Yes,
in
he's
the
gonna
new
be
one
in
with
it.
Finn
Yeah.
Wolfhard.
Yeah, which I think is a
I was like, Chris
continuation.
Hemsworth. The big Thor guy, what are you talking about? What is the new Ghostbusters? Is that the one with the kids from Stranger Things?
It is.
Yeah, and Paul.
And Paul Rudd. And
I think it's. I think the setting is the Spengler home. So of course, since that actor is no longer with us. So.
They just stopped acting.
Oh no, Eon.
Oh, no, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Same
he
page.
was the only OG Ghostbuster.
Sorry,
But
same page now. All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Please post down in the comments some of your favorite reboots and sequels and remasters and some of your least favorites. And we can't wait to hear from you.